First up this morning, coming to you live from Uri, and even as we speak in just a while from now, Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is set to speak at the UNGA. What is going to be the theme of his address? You can guess it quite easily. Well, the Kashmir issue is going to be on the front burner. This is a strategy that Pakistan has decided a few days ago. As far as the terror attacks that Pakistan plans and executes on Indian soil, that is something that Nawaz Sharif did not want to address at all when he was questioned about it. But the issue of Kashmir and the violence in Kashmir and the so-called human rights violations in Kashmir at the hands of the forces, that is a theme which Nawaz Sharif is going to rake up, and he's told all his envoys across the world to also bring up very forcefully. We've got Prerna Thakur Desai, in fact, joining us live from New York now. Prerna, to begin with, first of all, tell us what exactly is the mood there? What is going to be the strategy of the Pakistani delegation? How is Pakistan's strategy, more importantly, being received by the people there?
Well, it might be a difficult day for Mr. Nawaz Sharif here at the United Nations. Pakistan has been saying for a very long time that it's going to bring up the issue of peace in Kashmir in front of the United Nations. However, after the Uri attack, its position has clearly been made untenable. Now, that apart, Pakistan has also been facing protests from Balochistan activists who have protested outside the UN 2 days ago. And we are told that they're going to be protesting today as well, soon after Mr. Nawaz Sharif's address to the UNGA today. So Pakistan will really have to watch its word on the floor of the assembly today while it gives the address.
Absolutely, Prerna. In fact, given the Uri terror attack and the protests by the Balochis, has Pakistan found itself painted into a corner?
Well, the strongest words have come from Russia and France. In fact, Russia, although says that its decision to cancel the joint exercises with Pakistan in POK has nothing to do with the Uri attack, but it's very clear that Russia is trying to be very cautious in its association with Pakistan. Now, that apart, China, which is Pakistan's closest ally at this point in time, has also condemned the attack. Many other countries have spoken up, including Japan, Germany, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Canada, and many other countries. So at this point, Pakistan clearly will find itself cornered.
Prerna Thakur Desai, thank you very much for joining us with the very latest from the UNGA. We'll keep a very close track of what Nawaz Sharif says there and what are the international reactions to it. But every time India talks about a strategic response to a terror provocation from Pakistan, there is the usual nuclear saber rattling by Pakistan. We've had the country talk about how they are ready to launch a nuclear war. So is that even a real possibility? My colleague Shiv Arur now takes us through the red lines that if India crosses them, there could be a possibility of a nuclear retaliation by Pakistan.
So these are the 4 red lines that, if crossed, the Lakshman Rekhas, if crossed, will elicit a nuclear or maximum military reaction from Pakistan. The first threshold or red line is space. If India militarily managed to conquer large parts of Pakistani territory after an attack, that would elicit a reaction. The second big red line or Lakshman Rekha, if India using aircraft and jets bombs large parts of the Pakistan Army's establishments, that would do the same thing. The third Lakshman Rekha or red line, the economic threshold. If India reneges on any treaty like the Indus Water Treaty or any other economic treaty to strangle Pakistan economically, that would provoke a strong, possibly nuclear reaction. And finally, the domestic threshold or domestic red line, which is if India manages to create large-scale internal disturbances within Pakistan, that would also spark a big reaction from Pakistan, perhaps even nuclear.
Kaswar Klasra is now live with us from Islamabad. Kaswar, tell me this. Other than the Kashmir issue being brought up by Nawaz Sharif, what are the other ways in which Pakistan plans to bolster its stand while its delegation is at the UN?
Well, let me tell you, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has left for, the New York on a single agenda. That is to highlight the Kashmir issue in the United Nations General Assembly. That is the single point in it. But apart from others, the Pakistan has been under pressure from Indian side and also from the world community when it's come to discuss terror. So the other points which Prime Minister of Pakistan can highlight, that is the sacrifices given by the people of Pakistan and the Pakistan Armed Forces. 65,000 people, including the law enforcement agencies and innocent civilians have been killed soon after Pakistan decided to join the world community as a frontline state against Al-Qaeda militants, the Taliban and other side. So these are the things that Prime Minister
Okay, but what is
Nawaz Sharif
happening
is
right
going
now,
to
Kaswar,
highlight
is quite
into
the
United
opposite.
Nations
Far
General
from joining the world community as the first line of defense against terrorism, Pakistan is being isolated as the propagator of terrorism. Have there been any responses from within Pakistan on the very real possibility that it might even be excluded from most of the regional groupings, most importantly SARC? Kaswar?
Ji.
Kaswar, you can hear me. Far from being made an ally in the fight against terrorism, now there are more and more countries which are speaking out against Pakistan as the country which is the bedrock of terrorism. Have there been any reactions from within the government, from within the establishment on the very real possibility of Pakistan being isolated in from most of the regional groupings, including SARC?
Well, this is really interesting and tricky question. Let me tell you what I have discussed. I have spoken to the officials within Pakistan government establishment. They argue there is no question of Pakistan being isolated at the world community because the world knows that Pakistan has lost 65,000, the civilians and the law enforcement agencies. Its army has been fully cooperating with the world community, definitely, and we have, the world is aware that Pakistan itself have been the victim of, the terrorism and other sides as well. But on the other side, the world community, including the United States and other world, economies which have been funding Pakistan for a long time, they have raised question regarding Pakistani sides aiding Haqqani group and other militant groups as well. But the most important part of this story is Pakistan has never admitted that it has been funding some of the good, the Taliban. If you are aware about the term the good Taliban and bad Taliban, Pakistan has been coming under pressure from the world community that it has developed some differences with bad Taliban and good Taliban. And good Taliban means Haqqani network. So you would appreciate to know that within Pakistan, definitely there are some pressure groups which have been criticizing government of Pakistan policies when it comes to connection between Pakistan and Haqqani group as well. But definitely Pakistani side has never admitted that they aid Haqqani group or other militants as well. But the world knows, they argue, the world knows that Pakistan has cooperated with the world community, and it has been itself the victim of terrorism. So there is no question of being isolated at the world community.
All right, I think it's fair to say we just wait a few more days to figure out exactly which narrative vis-a-vis Pakistan and its relationship with terror the world community buys. Kaswar Klasra, thank you very much for joining us. In fact, we've got more news coming in about how in the middle of growing pressure against Pakistan, growing condemnation of Pakistan's role in encouraging, backing, training terror outfits, now Pakistan has pulled out of one key meeting of security experts. Let's listen to a few reactions coming in.
Pakistan for long has been fomenting trouble in India, especially in Kashmir, and they've managed to get away with it, but not this time. India plans to expose Pakistan on international platforms, including that one of SARC. Clearly, after Afghanistan, it's Bangladesh who've sided with India. So that principle is really now working. Remember, Bangladesh has also been a victim of Pakistan terror to a certain extent, and they're willing to go all along the way. They say they stand with their old friend India.
All right, so in this region itself, more and more countries are speaking out. The Bangladesh ambassador, the Bangladesh High Commissioner, while speaking to India today, had condemned in very strong words the attack on the Uri army camp. And now, again, while speaking to us, the Afghan ambassador has also spoken out. Let's quickly play out that exclusive chat that he had with my colleague Gaurav Sawant. Welcome back. On the one hand, Pakistan makes sure that on every available platform, they declare themselves the biggest victims of terror, and at the same time, within hours of each other, repeated bids at infiltration have been made. Is Pakistan playing a role in it? Well, there were ceasefire violations just minutes before the actual infiltration happened. The rest I leave to your imagination.
Despite being cornered, an unrepentant Pakistan refuses to shun its terror mindset. As the nation bid a tearful ode to the Uri martyrs, Pakistan army and terrorists are back to their game. The Pakistan plan to keep the line of control flare-up going. First, a large group of at least 15 heavily armed terrorists breached the border in Uri yet again. But this time round, our Jawans were up for the challenge. While the army engaged the terrorists in a fierce firefight, the Pakistani military made attempts to divert focus. Heavy shelling and fire was reported at least 2 places along the LOC in Uri. Another group of terrorists made a bid to enter Kashmir from the strategic Naugam sector in Handwara police district. A Jawan was martyred as soldiers launched an offensive in the ongoing gunfight. With the fresh spat of infiltrations, Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar has sought a report from the army on the unchallenged strikes targeting military installations. After a full-fledged diplomatic attack on Pakistan, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for a high-level cabinet committee meeting to discuss the tensions along the Jammu and Kashmir border. Sources say terror groups like Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed are in line to cross the borders. But our troops are battle-ready to take on the coward terrorists. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, India has said very clearly that there will be a response, it will be a fitting response, and it will be at a time and place of our choosing. But that's already got Pakistan nervous, which is why you have Parvez Musharraf now again talking about imminent war.